Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is a wonderful Wednesday. Bitcoin was up today. It is now down. Obviously, it is trying to climb back up, but the miners were up for the most part today, which is great, except for one I think was down. So as always, we'll take a look at Bitcoin, see what's going on in the chart there. We'll also take a look at the miners as well, see how they did today in the stock market. And we got also a production update from CleanSpark for July, so we'll take a look at that. And then we also have RIOT Blockchain production update as well. We'll do that. And then just a little bit of Bit Digital news, new hosting deal. We'll get into that as well. And as always, not financial advice. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. You guys know the deal here. Let's get into Bitcoin, and then we'll get into the updates as well. And the miners. So Bitcoin right now is at 22,952. It did try to bounce up a little bit here on the day-to-day, which we see it kind of wicked up to a high of 23,650 roughly was the high that it wanted to go to. If we look at the 1 hour chart, we can see was trying to get up there. And here is our resistance line, which we'll draw out here. So it was trying to get to it, didn't quite make it, and obviously it fell down on the day. So right now we are pretty low on the RSI, which is a good sign. Looking at it from where we are right now, at least the troughs here was here. Last trough was down here, or at least right around here. We were obviously a little bit lower. There we go. We were lower in price, so we're still looking good as far as the RSI is concerned on the 1 hour chart. The same thing is true for the daily chart. We're still looking okay there as far as where we were in the bottom here. And then if we go back to possibly here, we're still higher in price while the RSI is flat basically. So that's a good sign for that. We'll have to see obviously what Bitcoin does in the coming days. Right now, it's kind of battling with that resistance of 23,800. The more times it touches it, the more likely it is to go above it. But it also could be said that the more times it touches it and falls below it, the more likely it is to fall back down to our support here, which is at 19,500 or so, since we bounced off of that line here a couple times on the daily chart. So, and let's put in the 200 weekly moving average as well. And we are still kind of bouncing off of that here. Let me see if we can get rid of this or do this. There we go. So you can see here, it bounced off of it today basically, and it's bouncing off of it as well. So we've touched it a couple of times here, and that's kind of acting as our little support here right now. So it's bouncing between the 200 weekly moving average and our resistance at 23,800. We'll have to see which way it actually ends up going here in the coming days and weeks. Ethereum is at 1,637. It has been falling down the last couple of days as well. Obviously, taking a little bit of a relief rally hit here. It has gone up quite nicely in the last couple of days, weeks, from a low here that we had back on July 13th. We were at roughly, well, we bottomed out at about 1,035. So we've had a nice rally here, about 60% up or so in the last 2 weeks or so. So obviously, we're coming down a little bit on that one. So we'll keep an eye on it as well, see what happens there. So let's take a look at the miners here. Miners. Let's get rid of the 200 weekly on this. There we go. Any was actually up today 5.02% to 69 cents, almost 70 cents. Argo was down 3.94% to 50 cents. Bit Digital was up 2.56% to $1.60. Bitfarms was up 8.05% to $1.61. Continuation of a 3-day rally here looks like since Monday. CleanSpark was up 2.43% to $4.64. Had also 3 days where it's been going green. Surprisingly, Bitcoin's been coming down, and these guys are going up, so that's a good trend to see. Cores is up another 8.09% today to $2.94. It has been going up, boy, it's been green at least the last five out of the last 7 trading days. So it's been doing really well as also. DigiHost was up 4.76% to $1.32. DMG was up 3.33% to 31 cents. Hive was up 3.51% to $5.02. It's been going up here for the past 6 days or 6 trading days, which is kind of nice to see as well. Price has obviously gone quite a bit up higher from where we were here at this point, and our side went up just a little bit, so that's also a good sign. Then we got, where did we go? Where did we go to Argo? Hive, Hut 8 was up nicely today, 10.6% to $2.40. And it's been going up also quite nicely here the last 6 days or so. Iris Energy was up another 19.7% today to $4.80. So that was good to see as well. Luxfolio was up 26.21% to 13 cents. It's been going kind of bonkish a little bit, down and up. Pretty huge percentage swing drops. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Marathon was up 2.4% to $13.28. It's been up for the, 5 days out of the last 7. So it's not too bad. And then we got Mawson was down 1.41% to 83 cents. And Riot was up 4.77% to $8.12, and it's been up the last 6 days as well, which is a good. And Stronghold was up 7.46% to $2.45 after coming down from its, pretty strong rally here. We do have some gaps here, obviously, that are possibly going to be getting filled here. So something to keep an eye on that one. And they are supposed to provide earnings here. Looks like the 11th. A lot of the miners are going to be providing, obviously, financials like the 11th, the 9th, the 13th. So it's going to be a busy week that week. So stay tuned. Subscribe to if you like these kind of videos. I'll be providing all that analysis as well. And I think that's the last one. Yep, because then we got Bitcoin difficulty actually went down to 121, whatever that is, trillion, billions. We're at that point right now. So that's it for the miners. Overall, pretty good considering Bitcoin has been going down. So let's take a look at the news stories here. Let's take a look at Cleanspark. So Cleanspark announces July 2022 Bitcoin mining update. We'll do this really quickly here. So Bitcoin mined in July was 384, which is really good. Calendar year to date Bitcoin mined was 2,247. Total BTC holdings as of July 31st was 519. Total BTC converted for operational and growth in July was 426, so they actually sold more than they mined. And total hash rate of 2.9 exahash right now with about 30,450 miners being installed. And that is it for them. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet that I have for them, and we'll get into Riot afterwards. So let's take a look at Cleanspark. So Cleanspark right now has a hash rate of 2.9 exahash. Future hash rate is about 4.5 that we know of right now. They are about 64% fully installed operationally right now. And I have a little bit less miners here. They may have miners that are, performing less than the 100 terahash. They might be a little bit less than that, but we're still getting the same basically numbers here, except for the number of miners. Hash rate average per miner is 100 terahash. And we do have obviously BTC HODL of 519. That's valued about 12 million or so. HODL to market cap right now is 6.9%, and each share has about 32 cents of HODL position in it from their value here. Okay, looking at their BTC production for the current month, July, which is here, they had 384, and they were at basically 2.9 exahash. That gets us to a BTC per petahash value of 0.1324, which is actually pretty good. They were down a little bit from, or up from last month. Last month was 0.1211. Then we had 0.1248, 0.1304, and their best month was here in March, which was 0.1377. Actually, January was their best month. It was 0.1481. So that was their best month, but they're slowly climbing back up to a pretty good average of BTC per petahash, which is good. The value for what they mined is about 8.9 million roughly, give or take a little bit, obviously depending on when they calculate the BTC value, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly. I'm using the end of the month price. So this is what I'm coming up with. Monthly difference, obviously they mined an extra 45 Bitcoins for the month of July compared to June, which is really good. So they're continuing to grow here, except they had 2 months that were kind of down, which was April and May. They were down only 5 and 1. But obviously March was a pretty good month, and they were down in February as well. But overall, they're continuing to grow their hash rate, which is nice. But a nice increase this month of 13.27 compared to June last month. They did end up selling 426 Bitcoin. I have them at 9.9 based on the price of Bitcoin at the end of the month. They're using a different price than average price, so they got a little bit more for that. But overall, this is all really good here. So right now we're looking at this quarter, if everything stays the same, possibly about 26 million. Unless Bitcoin price goes up or down, things are going to change here. Miners getting installed, that's also going to change the numbers here as well. So here's what we did for them in the mining side of it. From June to July, everything pretty much stayed the same, except for we knew that they were getting coin mint miners that were reported on July 14th. I upped those to 25 days of running. And that got us pretty close to that 8.9 million of revenue here, which should, do I have that correct? I got too many numbers. Yep, 8.949, so I'm a little bit under that, but we're pretty close to that. 8.92, they had 8.94, so we're off by 18,000 some dollars like that. Not a big deal there. And then it's just looking, they still have quite a bit of miners to get installed. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see if and when these new pros get installed, the XPs, the 140 terahash. That would be nice to see those getting installed, obviously, in August and through the end of the year, because those are pretty nice and efficient. And they still have a bunch of 100 terahash miners here and here to get installed as well, and here. So they still have quite a ways to go. Obviously, they're at 64% currently installed, right? Is that what I had it at? 64? Yep. So that's where we are with that. As far as institutions did decrease a little bit here month over month to 151, so that's a decrease of 4. But the number of shares actually went up to 12.86 million. And the percentage owned by institutions has increased to 31.15, which is good. We still have 1 strong buy rating, 2 regular buy ratings, and then 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sell. The analyst target price now is $16 for the high, average is $11 and $7 for the low. So the average and the low came down a little bit from where they were, which is okay. We're still looking possibly even being higher than that right now. We'll take a look at the numbers here for them. So as always, I take the current quarter, which is this one here, the 26,599,000 roughly, adding it to the last 3 quarters, which is the quarter that's ended in June, which we have them at 28.8. So we'll actually see how close we are to that. And we're using, obviously, the first quarter, which came in at 36.9. I was off by 2.67% on that one. And then we're using the last year's prior quarter to get the last 3 quarters, plus this current quarter to come up with possibly a combined revenue of 129 million, roughly. And then if we use the 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at 64. And the 50% is basically for electricity costs right now, and the price of Bitcoin where it's at as well. So we're using that number. That would get us to possibly around $25.68 for a fair value of, if we use the PE 15. And then if Bitcoin starts going up in value and where they are actually more profitable and getting close to the 75% profitability mark, we would be at 38.51 at 15 PE. And I think that's where they should be. Right now, all the miners are way undervalued based on where Bitcoin is. I mean, I could easily see them going also to like a 20 PE, which would get them to a 34.23 and 51.35, somewhere in that range, where I think they would be fairly valued at that point. That's just my take on those. Obviously, always do your own research, like I say. And I think that's it. I think we covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover here. Otherwise, great month for them, like the continued increases in Bitcoin production. And that's all I got to say. So nice job by CleanSpark on that one. Let's get into Riot here, and then we'll call it a day after we do Bit Digital news a little bit. All right, so Riot, unfortunately, was a different story, but there's actually a positive lining to this. So Riot Blockchain announces July 2022 production and operations update, and here's what we got. So scrolling down here, in July 2022, Riot produced 318 BTC, which is actually a decrease from last month, while significantly reducing overall power costs through effective employment of its proprietary power strategy. We'll get into that here in a little bit. So Riot earned an estimated 9.5 million in power credits as a result of curtailment activity. So they basically shut off the miners in order to help the Epcot grid and put power back into the grid. So households, businesses could use that power instead of for the miners. So that 9.5 million is going to be credited against its power invoices, which is pretty good. So basically, I don't know how much they're paying right now, but that's a pretty sizable amount being deducted from it right now. So if we're looking at 50% right now power costs, this could possibly cover all of their power costs for whatever they mined already. So the 9.5 million in power credits equates to approximately 439 BTC computed by using the July 2022 average BTC price of 21,634. So there you go. That's basically what they could have actually mined with it, or equates to that amount, which is really good. So, and Riot held approximately 6,696 BTC currently, and then Riot has sold 275 BTC, generating net proceeds of approximately 5.6 million. They currently have a deployed fleet of 40,311 miners with a hash rate capacity of 4.2 exahash. So this is actually down from the prior months, but there's a reason for it. So current hash rate capacity has been temporarily impacted by the ongoing relocation of a portion of the company's mining fleet from a third-party hosting facility to Riot's Whinstone facility, which is ultimately expected to further reduce production costs as well, which is true. They're obviously going to get it under their own house, get it under their own electricity bills. This is obviously going to help out. So I'm hoping to see improvements, obviously, in August, which we're in right now, September going forward, to get those miners installed and get them back up and energized. So Riot's Q2 financials will be also reported on August 9th, which we're going to have quite a few reporting on that. And that's just going into more of what the curtailment basically benefited them with. So basically, for the month of July, they could have possibly basically mined the 318 whatever bitcoins it was for free electricity. So it's almost 100% profit, almost, I'm guessing. I don't know exactly, but we'll find out when they provide the information later on for Q3 that we're in right now. So that'll be interesting to find out. Okay, so let's take a look at what I got for them right now. Let's see, Riot. There it is. So Riot right now is at 4.2 exahash. Future hash rate is going to be about 12.5 exahash. And they're currently about 33% operationally installed. Average hash rate per mine is about 88 terahash right now. They do have 135 million shares outstanding. Stock price is at $8.12. Market cap is about $1 billion right now on them. Hodl position is 6,686, equates to 156 million right now of BTC. Hodl to market cap is about 14.2%, and one share has about $1.15 of BTC hodl in that position right now. So looking at their production here, we can see that they kind of peaked here in March at 511 BTC mined. April was down a little bit. They were down 3 to 508. May, they were down to 466. Decrease of 42. June, another decrease here of 45 to 421. And then obviously a huge decrease here in July of 103 Bitcoins to 318, which gave them a pretty low BTC per petahash amount of 0.0757 based on this. And that's because they were, shutting down the miners pretty much. And they did sell obviously 276, which came in about 6.4 million in revenue for them to fund operations and things like that. So here's what we had to do as far as the miners are concerned in July, sorry. I had to take out certain parts of the miners to make this math work to get them down to 4.2. So I took out the 3,045 of these miners of the 110 terahash. Also took out the 4,221 here of the 90 terahash miners, and possibly the 400 of the same 90 terahash miners as well to get them down to the 4.2 terahash, or exahash, sorry. And that also equated us to having to reduce the amount of days that they were mining down to 17.65 for all these to get it down to the revenue of 7.4 million, which is what we had up here, or pretty close to that, 7.411, based on how much they mined, Bitcoin ending price in July as well. So that's where we are with that. That obviously is a pretty big decrease here from May, which they were at 15 million down to 8 and 7 million. So this could be all profit, which is actually kind of good, which would be the same equivalent as making about 14 to 15 million in total revenue, and then subtracting 50% for energy costs, possibly. So this is actually pretty good. Let's go down here as far as institutions are concerned. So institutions went down a little bit to 310. That's a decrease of about 15 institutions. We also had, unfortunately, shares go down as well to 43.8 million from 44.6 million. And percentage owned went down to 32.37. We still have 2 strong buy ratings, 7 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, and the price targets for high is 42. The average went down a little bit to 1978, so did the low to 780 right now. So it looks like, that's fine with that. This, obviously, we don't want to see a continuation trend where it's going down. We'd like to see it coming back up. We have seen it from May. Looks like from May was the peak here where we were at 37.58% owned, and it's been falling down ever since. So hopefully once Bitcoin starts pumping back up a little bit, that will also help the institutions get on board. So looking at it right now, we're using obviously the current quarter of 37.5. If everything stays the same, things don't change, and they get their miners back up and installed in August. And then obviously pretty good month in September. We're looking at about 37 million right now. And that would give us, plus the last 3 quarters, we're looking at 187 million. So combined total of 225 million for the last 4 quarters. Using the 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at 112. It's going to be tricky with them because like just now they obviously had the curtailment, but they got paid for it. So it's almost like a wash. There's almost like 100% profit on it. If it was like that every month, then that'd be fantastic, but I don't think it's going to be the case. So we're somewhere in between these two numbers here, between 50 and 75, and then 75% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at 168.9 million. And if we're using the 20 PE right now, stock price should be between $16.67 to $25 on the higher end. But given that they still have quite a ways to go, I wouldn't be surprised if they get a little bit higher multiple of 25 to 30 once Bitcoin starts going back up. So we're possibly looking between $20.83 and $31.25 on this. So still way undervalued, like pretty much all the miners are right now. But overall, I'm saddened by the fact that they went down in BTC production, but I'm happy that they were able to pretty much get credits on the electrical usage, if that's the case, and be almost 100% profit on this month, which is kind of strange way to look at it, and a little bit confusing too, especially for investors. I think some might have a little bit harder time getting the grasp of it all. But that's where we are. So I think August and September is going to be a much better month for them. Still waiting to hear from them as far as their immersion cooling, see how that's going, whether they're getting 20, 25, 30% increases in hash rate from those miners or more. And then hopefully we'll get some data on that when they actually provide their financials later on this month. So something to look forward to as well. And finally, let's get into BitDigital. This is a really quick one. BitDigital Inc. announces incremental hosting capacity in Canada. This is pretty small, but still it gets them to where they need to be. So BitDigital has finalized an agreement for 5 megawatts of incremental hosting capacity to power its miners. The facility is located in Canada and utilizes an energy source that is primarily hydropower operated, which is good. The facility currently powers approximately 650 of the company's miners and is expected to accommodate 1,500 units over the coming months. So that's obviously going to help them get more of their miners that have been moved over from China to basically get powered back on. They've been having a hard time with that recently. So this is obviously going to help them with that. So this is great news for them as well. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. We're still waiting on a bunch of other miners to provide. We're still waiting on, who are we waiting on still? Let's see. Let's take a look at my numbers here. Miners comparison. So we're still waiting on Argo, BitDigital, Core to provide. Core is usually pretty quick at it. DMG, Hive, Hut 8, Iris, Lux. Lux still hasn't provided their June numbers. Marathon, Mawson, Sphere, and then we'll possibly get some numbers from Stronghold when they actually report their financials as well. They don't do monthly reports. I can estimate as far as what they could be mining based on what they provide at the end of each quarter. So that's where we are. We still have obviously a long ways to go before all the numbers are in. And then we'll do the final miners versus miners at the end of it all. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And thank you to all my Patreons. And you can get the spreadsheet there through Patreon if you're interested in that. And it also helps to support what I do. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.